Welcome to a brand new podcast. Iain McLean is a writer and the author of TJ's War. David Blair is an actor and the narrator of the audiobook TJ's War. David and Iain have been listening to their readers and listeners and have decided to turn TJ's War into a movie. And since the story covers the entirety of World War II, the movie will cost at least $50 million. Will David and Iain succeed in their quest? Follow them in this podcast series. We're going to make a $50 million movie.
Hi everyone, welcome back. And we are making a $50 million TV series and movie. Today, changing up folks, it's Syya. You're seeing my face for the first time, outside of being a guest. But we've got Iain here and we've got Quinn. Quinn.
My face as well.
Well, hey, so guys, I am so excited to be here and I'm excited for this episode. This is a very different format than we've done in the past. And that's largely because we're having a lot of fun with this and experimenting with, what we're learning in the movie making, process. So in our wonderful, illustrious conversations, there was a great idea to have all of us check out 12 O'Clock High. This is a great movie from 1940s.
1949. And
1949.
Yeah. So let me introduce the film. It's a classic. Gregory Peck plays a U.S. commander taking over failing would be the wrong word, but it's a U.S. Bomber group, and they're struggling with crew morale. And he takes over the station, and it follows his career with the station for the next, I don't know how long it'd been, something like 6 months. The thing about this film is it's a US base in the United Kingdom, and it's based on the 100th bomber group. It's called the Unlucky 100th. So it's very close to reality, and a lot of the people who are actually in the film were themselves involved in the Second World War in some form or another, only 4 years earlier. So we're looking at something that's, okay, it's a fictional film, but really it's very close to reality. And the story itself is based on the Unlucky 100th. So it starts off with the chap who turns out to be the US station administrator. And he's now in civilian clothes. It's after the war, and he's walking through London, and he finds a Toby jug, and he recognizes it, and he buys it, and he goes out by train and gets on a bicycle and goes to his old station, which even by then has turned back to grass. The buildings have become emptied. There's nobody there. Everything's gone. And he then starts to remember. So what we're about to look at right now is 4 minutes and 6 seconds into the film, and he's just wandered onto this empty field, and he's starting to remember. So if we watch the next couple of minutes, you'll see what's happening. man up, he's in trouble.
It didn't look like it was going very far for a second there.
Alright, let's pause right here.
Just a little bit longer.
Okay.
Look, he's coming in without any wheels down. No undercarriage. Wheel aircraft. Wheels down. Not even wartime footage. That was done for the film.
Holy smokes. Okay, couple things here from a cinematography perspective. That's kind of my perspective on this. In that opening sequence, he's standing there in front of like an empty run over grass ran over.
Overgrown.
I thought it was very interesting setup for the beginning of a movie, right? So it's setting up and teeing up the fact that he's reminiscing and reimagining that situation. It does look like, though, he's on a stage and that they painted the background, at least for that moment that they filmed. Did you guys see that, or was it just me being critical?
I think if we allowed that, if we'd gone a little bit earlier, you'd have seen him walking onto the field.
Okay, so you think it's actually on site? That was an on site
yeah,
footage?
Yeah, that was completely real. So obviously there was some kind of changeover as the camera went up into the sky. They got the aircraft going and everything else, but it wasn't on a stage. It was very clearly because of the way he gets off the bicycle, goes through the fence, and walks onto the airfield. All of that was real. It was all done in one take.
Fascinating. I mean, okay, look, that was 1949. That looked hella good to me. Like, that looked really good. I didn't think the camera would be that sharp, I guess.
Yeah. And all the stunts were real. All the aircraft were real. They still had the aircraft. Those were B-17 Flying Fortresses, and they still had them. I think when they're filming the aircraft, that's probably not the UK. I think, if I remember rightly, that was done in America, because it would have all gone back to the States by then. But yeah,
I think it's quite interesting how, if that had been recorded now, you've got that moment. He's obviously introspection. He's kind of obviously having a, he's going through remembering things, etc., etc. But now you'd be cutting that in with like scenes, flashbacks, this, that, and the other, and it's quite different in the way that obviously they've just kind of held on him. It's like you kind of decide what he's remembering and what he's doing, or what he's thinking about, as opposed to a lot of movies nowadays which are, I would say, quite ham-fisted in that approach, where it's like, he is thinking about this, now let's show him this. And it's, the number of movies where it's like, the woman is remembering her child, so let's have a flashback of a child's face on the screen. And it's just quite nice how, you don't need that, and yet, it's like the silence as well. I don't know if either of you got that as well, but
yeah. It's very different. These are long scenes. You don't get long scenes in films these days, or TV series.
And there's no jump cuts. I mean, yeah, of course he spanned up to like transition between him, the modern day, and him reminiscing, going back to that memory. It's spoon fed. That's what I call it. It's like spoon fed. Like we're not allowed to use our imagination anymore. It feels like, right? Like,
yeah.
And that frenetic pace that you see a lot of like, Marvel comics. It's like quick and witty quips back and forth. It's like, this is like, breathe.
Well, it's like a lot of people nowadays complain about a movie saying it's bad if they don't get it as such, whereas it's like, maybe you just need to actually watch it, rather than, I think a lot of movies by today's standard that are bad would still be considered quite an amazing movie by the standard of 20 or 20, even 30 years ago, just because of the fact that they actually go at a bit of a pace. And all those people who go, I just didn't understand it, or didn't explain this. It's like, they didn't always have to explain everything. I think like a movie that I really love is called Gran Torino, and I feel like that movie kind of like bridges that line where it's very kind of, it just shows, it doesn't tell, but also it's not showing you like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. It's showing you as in, okay, this is going on. You might just see that little thing sat on the, you see his wife's pill container or thing, and he's slowly like clearing stuff out. He's not gotten over her. You don't have to have them say specifically he's not gotten over her or have a flashback of her. You never see what she looks like other than photos, just here and there, and it's...
The next clip I want to show you is at 3903. Movies from, let's say, the 1940s, they were still coming out as silent movies, and the silent movies were coming out of theatre. And theatre was about acting. And we're still seeing real acting going on in the 40s, whereas I feel now the actor has got less opportunity to act in films because it's cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting. So I think when we go to 3903, you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about in terms of Gregory Peck. You really believe this guy is a commanding officer of a seriously large United States Air Force group. He really does give you that presence, and there's very few actors who could have done it then. And I struggle to think, maybe Jack Nicholson's a guy who can give you that sense that he's a seriously strong leader. I was thinking of what was that film? Is it called A Few Good Men?
Yep. The truth. You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth. You really believe that he is a senior officer under a lot of pressure and carrying the world on his shoulders. But if you go to 3903, and we'll just watch this next clip here, where he's dressing down one of his aircraft captains for what he sees as poor leadership. The guy's aircraft has had to return several times when the others have bravely gone on, and he's really questioning this guy's commitment. It's a tremendous piece.
Colonel Gately is here, sir.
Send him in.
Yes, sir.
That's all, man.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. I felt that.
May I ask the general why I've been placed under arrest?
No. Stand at attention. You're the son of Lieutenant General Tom Gately, aren't you?
I believe that's my standard identification, sir.
What do you think of him as an officer?
None better, sir.
That's right. You're the son of one fine officer and the grandson of another. You're a graduate of West Point with 9 years' service. Your Form 5 shows that you have more four-engine time than any man in the group. For those reasons, you could have done more than anybody to take the load off Colonel Davenport. The record shows that you've flown only 3 missions since you've been here. Is that right?
If you don't count twice I turned back, sir.
I take it that you don't even care about the part you had in breaking one of the best men you'll ever know. Add to it, as air exec, you were automatically in command here the moment Colonel Davenport left. And you met that responsibility exactly as you met his need. You ran out on it. You left the station to get drunk. Gately, as far as I'm concerned, you're yellow. A traitor to yourself, to this group, to the uniform you wear. It would be the easiest course for me to transfer you out. To saddle some unsuspecting guy with a deadbeat. Maybe you think that's what you're going to get out of this, a free ride in some combat unit. But I'm not going to pass the buck. I'm going to keep you right here. I hate a man like you so much that I'm going to get your head down in the mud and trample it. I'm going to make you wish you'd never been born.
If that's all, sir.
I'm just getting started. You're going to stay right here and get a belly full of flying. You're going to make every mission. You're not air exec anymore. You're just an airplane commander. And I want you to paint this name on the nose of your ship. Leper Colony. Because in it, you're going to get every deadbeat in the outfit. Every man with a penchant for head colds. If there's a bombardier who can't hit his plate with his fork, you get him. If there's a navigator who can't find the men's room, you get him because you rate him. Is that clear?
General Savage, I have a right to file charges against you for personal abuse and exceeding your lawful authority. And
Now, get me Pine Tree. I want General Pritchard.
Mine's busy, sir. Will you wait?
Yeah, I'll wait. Right, Gately. You've got a right to explain to General Pritchard cowardice, desertion of your post, a yellow streak a mile wide. And maybe he can explain it to your father so that they'll both be proud of you. You could tell him right now.
Hello, I have your line, sir. General Savage, I withdraw my statement. Hello, I have your line, sir.
Never mind.
Hello? Hello?
Can I point out just one thing? I bet you already got it. But did you notice that was all one take?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No shot, reverse shot, nothing.
No back and forth, no jump cuts, no boop. That was just you're right. Very theater. Very, very, yeah.
That's a fair point.
They did zoom in.
Very theater.
But that was it. They just zoomed in for effect, right? But I gotta tell you, man, the acting's superb. Like, so I on my fun days, I study body language, and just reading the body language of the actor as he stood there, just you could see his breathing get more and more labored as the scene got more and more intense. I mean, kudos to that actor for really playing that. Like, he didn't. I mean, he knew he was in trouble, but man, he knew it was. And then culminating to him calling his father, like, oh, yeah. I mean, he was practically breathing in his face, you know. It's brutal. Excellent scene, lovely. Thank you for pointing that out.
Now, one of the other things about this film, you can tell I've seen it a few times, and it's not even my favorite film. What's my favorite film?
Joe versus the Volcano.
Joe versus the Volcano. But this is a great
I was
film.
just going to say TJ's War because it's getting made.
And when it's made, you're on.
To find out more about the book, visit tjswar.com, and to buy it, click on the Amazon link below. To accompany us on our journey, please subscribe to this podcast because we're going to make a $50 million movie.